Thanks for joining. Welcome to the April General Membership Meeting brought to you by the Transportation Corridor Agency. My name is Steve Lamont, and I serve as the chair of the South Orange County Economic Coalition, as well as the CEO of the BIA Orange County. I will be your moderator today. The Economic Coalition serves as the advocacy arm of the South Orange County region. We're excited to bring you this forum today. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the majority of us are now working from our homes. So today's meeting is going to consist of a discussion to better understand the impacts of energy consumption and broadband support for this transition. It can be viewed as going from the office side of the equation to almost overnight moving to the residential side. Today we'll be joined by our local energy and broadband service providers who will discuss the infrastructure required around this transition, concerns and assumptions of whether the system will be able to manage this influx and what extent going forward. Provide helpful resources for our business community, links, phone numbers you could all call for assistance. So let's get right into it and welcome our panelists from Southern California Edison, Krystal, Senior Manager, Small Business and Economic Development, representing Southern California Gas Company, Mario Aguirre, Director, Work Plan and Resource Management, representing San Diego Gas and Electric, Jenny Reynolds, SDGE's Manager of Business Services and Customer Programs, and representing the broadband part of the discussion is not only the Government Affairs Director and Regulatory Affairs Director with Cox Communications, but our past chair, Kristin Camellia. Thanks for participating and joining today. Before we get started, I would like to invite viewers to comment below if you have questions for the panel. We'll be doing a live Q&A after we hear from our panelists. Make sure you comment below with your questions and we'll get them answered. The way this will work today is each panelist will have a few minutes to discuss how their agency is and what they can offer our customers. And so with that, we're going to jump right into it. And first is Jenny Reynolds, SDGE. Jenny, take it away.
Thank you. Well, first, I want to thank our sponsors for hosting this session today. It's an important topic at an important time, and SDGE welcomes the opportunity to share with our customers what we're doing. My name is Jenny Reynolds. I am the Business Services Manager for San Diego Gas and Electric, and our whole company, myself included, recognizes what an interesting time that we're in, a tremendously difficult time for a lot of people, our state, our region. I don't know about you, but I've turned my son's makeshift playroom into my office, and struggling to balance all the different needs that I need to do. I'm sure you are all receiving this and viewing this from different parts of your house or places that you remain safe during this time. Obviously, we understand for our customers that it's a really important time to make sure that they understand that SDGE is here to support them and make sure that they can get connected to energy, right? Their energy needs. We can't just go to Starbucks or someplace else when something goes wrong. I think it's really important for you to know that we have a robust contingency plan in place. Most utilities, I think my fellow folks on the panel will agree, are very much prepared for any type of emergency. Although COVID-19 is unlike any emergency I've had to be a part of, a lot of our contingency planning and support is really already built out for things like this, and then we just have to stay flexible and adaptable, which I think SDGE specifically is very good at. I also think it's important for our customers to know that we have postponed all planned outages except for the absolute most critical in support of wildfire or support of emergencies. And like we said, reliability in the lights, that's what's powering, right? That's what's powering this presentation right now. And we know it's important to make sure you have some predictability and understanding of what's going on. Finally, I think it's also just important to kind of be aware of the different support mechanisms that we've taken action on to make sure our customers are taken care of during this time. We have suspended all service disconnections and temporarily waived service fees, late payment fees, excuse me. And we also have a team on staff prepared to talk about pay arrangements. There's so many things that you need to be worried about right now, and keeping your lights on shouldn't be top of your mind. So we are definitely here to have conversations and support you. I also think it's important to remember that we already have some customer assistance programs that have been available for a while. But I think during this time, there might be a broader group of folks that might take advantage of those. And so I just wanted to let you know that if you don't know about it, there's the CARE program and the FAIR program. The CARE program is a 30% discount. The FAIR program for qualifying folks is 18%. I don't want to bore you with the long song and dance, but if you go to sdgne.com/assistance, that has a lot of really great information for all of our customers to go to see how we can help you during this time.
Outstanding. Thank you. Okay, Jenny, thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Krystal Swinton with SoCal Edison. Krystal, take it away.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Jenny, for giving an overview of what SDGE is doing. Southern California Edison is very similar to SDGE. We're both governed by the California Public Utilities Commission, so a lot of our programs are very same, and our resiliency plans are. So a lot of the things I'll share with you today are similar. Foremost, our hearts do go out to those individuals, families, and businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. As Jenny had said, I don't think any of us have experienced anything like this, in our lifetime. At Edison, we quickly and consistently adapted to Governor Newsom's stay-at-home orders in March. When the order was instituted, similar to all the peer utilities, we quickly activated our emergency response protocols, and our leadership teams really made this their #1 priority on how we could respond and provide reliable power to our customers. We've also implemented programs and services to help you and your loved ones, continue your daily life as normal as possible, even in this environment. Similar to SDGE, we've suspended service disconnections for all customers. That's both business and residential. We've got flexible payment arrangements. We're waiving late fees. We do have the assistance funds that Jenny had talked about as well. One thing that we are doing for residential customers, if you are a residential customer of Edison, you will have a credit on your May and June bills, about $18 each month. We're moving up the October climate dividend. We're giving that to everyone now, as opposed to in the fall. For those who are in need, Edison donated $1 million to local nonprofits, and the two in your specific area is Community Action Partnership of Orange County and the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank for those people who do need additional assistance at this time. And we also are prioritizing and completing only critical power outages that have to do with public safety and the reduction of wildfire risk. If you are a residential customer, be sure to log into the Nextdoor application. We are putting any notifications for outages that are going to be taking place in your residence that have to do with public safety or the reduction of wildfire risk in the Nextdoor notifications so that you can be prepared. We also instituted some ICE vouchers for those individuals who are having an outage, so you can go to Smart and Final and get some ICE to try and keep your food and other things cold during the duration of the outage. A final thing that we've done to help small businesses, we've tried to connect all our customers with your local Small Business Development Center. Please make sure you're visiting sba.gov to find out all the local resources that are available to you. We want to try and support business customers during this time to navigate the various loan programs and work with them directly. As Jenny said, please be sure you contact us via phone, social media channels, visit our website. We really want to talk to all of our customers. It is important that you contact us if you do need a payment arrangement so we can set that up for you during this time.
Very good. Thank you, Krystal.
Thank you.
And I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, start sending them over now so we can build up a good list here to start into the when the panelists are finished. So let's turn it over now to Demario with SoCalGas. Mario, take it away. We lost Mario.
How about now?
How about now, Mario? There you are.
There I am. Came back.
We're all learning here, right?
Yes. No problem at all. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate that, and thank you for the opportunity to be on the panel. Like many other utilities, we do offer similar programs, and we're doing what we can to help our community and our customers in this unprecedented time. It's one of these situations where in prior, we've had many incidents in Southern California and wildfires, earthquakes, mudslides, whatever the situation may be. But this is one of those situations that it impacts every single person, not only in professional life, but also in the personal life. So balancing that has always been a challenge for us all. And we continue to try to support our employees, our customers, and the public. Their safety and well-being is foundational to what we do for the company. Natural gas service continues to flow. We have plenty of serving our 22 million customers across Southern and Central California. It continues as it always has been. There's no shortage of supply to supply homes, businesses, and generate electricity. And we continue to provide new business services to our builders and businesses. And we continue to make essential and emergency service appointments related to a carbon monoxide check, gas meter turn-ons, suspected natural gas leaks, gas outage, and pilot relights. And we continue to do work on our infrastructure so that we can maintain that service that you expect. As with the other utilities, service disconnections have been suspended until further notice. That means no residential or small business customer will have their natural gas turned off due to non-payment. And we have temporarily waived our fees for small business customers, and SoCalGas never charges late fees for residential customers. In addition, we've reached out to those who may have had natural gas service disconnected due to non-payment, and we're reaching out to them and we'll turn their gas back on with no required payment, late fees, or reconnection fees. There are some things that we have changed. Some appliance checkups and non-essential services have been suspended. And we also have the ability to make payment arrangements. Our customer service representatives are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can contact us through all the channels, phone, social media, and at SoCalGas.com. In general, we have done quite a bit of protocol within the company, as I'm sure as many others have, regarding enhanced hygiene, personal protective equipment, safety protocols. When we enter homes, we will do what is necessary if we need to enter a house, and doing all the proper protective equipment, even bodysuits if required. All of us at SoCalGas want to do what we can to support our communities during this time. We have donated $1 million to nonprofit organizations throughout our service territory and provide assistance, food for those in need, and bill assistance to customers who are most affected by this event. It's something that we together and collectively will be able to get through, and we appreciate the opportunity to be on this panel.
Awesome. Thank you, Mario. All right, next we'll hear from Kristin Camellia with Cox Communications. So, Kristin, based on what you have heard today, can you shed some light on how Cox is dealing? Such a big transition from the business side of the equation, and as I mentioned earlier, but now everyone, for the most part, overnight, moving into their homes. So, Kristin, take it away.
Sure. Thanks so much, Steve. So first, we all know how challenging these past 6 or so weeks have been. But I'd like you all to imagine just for a moment what all that time at home would look like if we didn't have the internet. I'm a mom. That's a scary thought. So according to the National Cable and Telecommunications Association, over 72 million homes and businesses across America subscribe to broadband service delivered by a cable provider. These connections are more important than ever, as we've seen many of our daily activities move online, as we all know. I'm here today to talk about how cable networks are performing in light of this unprecedented usage, and specifically how Cox's network is performing, what we're doing to manage congestion, and how we're helping support our customers and the community during this time. First, let's talk about the industry as a whole. The next 2 slides show aggregated data for all major cable internet service providers in the country. This graph shows the dramatic increase in bandwidth usage compared to pre-COVID internet usage. Overall, we've seen a 34% increase in peak upstream usage and a 20% increase in peak downstream usage. It's really important to keep in mind that internets are designed for far less upstream usage. That's uploading things onto the internet, like, for example, video conferencing like we're doing now. So increases on the upstream side affect performance more significantly. Nationally, we're seeing 2 weeks of consistent data indicating that growth in the peak traffic is slowing, and in some cases even plateauing. So the good news is that the data confirms that cable broadband networks are performing quite well during this crisis. You can see from this slide here that about 1% of Californians and only about 0.4% of all American cable customers are experiencing either substantially or significantly elevated peak usage. So by far and away, most of the networks are managing the additional traffic quite well. But the work to manage network congestion remains intense and accelerated. For Cox, national trends follow. We're completely staffed around the clock, monitoring and managing our network operations. I'll pause, and just for those who aren't familiar, Cox is the third largest cable operator in the country, operating in more than 18 states, and we're proud of the fact that we're family owned. To increase capacity on our network during this time, we've been performing node splits at record pace in areas experiencing congestion. A node split reduces the number of homes that are sharing bandwidth on a particular node by about 50%, thus increasing the shared bandwidth available. We're also utilizing various strategies to add upstream capacity. I want to take a moment to just thank cities right now for working with us and allowing this essential work to continue, as there is a lot of construction activity needed to support these efforts. So Cox is committed to more than just ensuring our network is performing well. We're committed to doing right by our customers and supporting the communities we serve. To that end, through May 15th, we've agreed to not terminate internet or telephone service to any residential or small business customer because of an inability to pay. In addition, we're waiving late fees, and we've temporarily suspended data usage overage charges. We've also opened up all our Wi-Fi hotspots to the public. Recognizing that students will remain home to finish out the school year, God help us all, Cox has extended our free offering of our to Compete service. That's our low-cost internet offer for low-income families. Until July 15th, that's free. Cox has committed over $50 million nationwide to COVID community relief efforts, including $8 million dedicated to our California markets. We've also provided over $5 million in PSA airtime for COVID messaging in California alone, and we've donated $75,000 to local food banks, including Second Harvest here in Orange County. And lastly, I'll just share that Cox is committed to protecting our employees. We moved very quickly in the early days of this crisis to transition employees to work from home. We increased benefit offerings to support employees impacted by the virus. For those employees whose roles require ongoing public interaction, like our field techs and our retail store employees, we're providing hazard pay during this time. And for our sales representatives who are dependent on commission, Cox is guaranteeing 80% of their monthly target. So you see, for Cox, it's so much more than about the services we provide. It's about honoring our company's longstanding family values and supporting our customers, our employees, and the communities that we serve, because we really recognize we're all in this together.
Thank you, Kristin. Okay, so if you're just joining us, my name is Steve Lamont, and I am the chair of the South Orange County Economic Coalition. We have been speaking with our Working From Home panel about the effects of COVID-19 and the impacts of transition from working in the office to now working at home. Our panelists today include representatives from SDGE, SoCalGas, Edison, Cox Communications, and we do have some questions for the panel that we have received from the public. So if you have not sent your question yet, please do so and comment. We'll try to get to them as soon as we can. So let's see. I do have a question here from. And she is looking for are there any subsidies for those businesses who are partially operating due to low sales that can help reduce utility bills? And I know you guys talked about a little bit of some assistance. So I'm going to start with Krystal. Are you aware of any? I mean, again, kind of maybe go over what you've talked about earlier, but ways of helping businesses who might have low sales at this point.
So from Edison's perspective, we're offering payment arrangements for those small business customers, who do need additional time to pay their bills during this time. So please contact us for that. I would encourage everyone to reach out to their local small business development center to really talk about, any, grant programs, loan programs, that are available to help them during this time. our Edison, from Edison's perspective, we are trying to work with customers as much as possible with payment arrangements and getting them in contact with those outside resources that might be able to help them.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. So I'm going to kick it over to Jenny. Jenny, again, same question. Ways of helping small businesses who might not have, awesome sales at this point.
No, absolutely. And I don't want to sound redundant. Edison and SDGE have a lot of the same programs. I think the only thing I want to add is that this is a really good time for businesses that are still operating to review their pricing plan. A lot of people think that there's just one rate that's available to them, and your utility companies have rates that are designed based on how you use your energy. And if you've noticed that that's changed, the fluctuations have changed, this is a really good time to go onto my account or to call somebody. If you really are struggling to pay the bills, obviously we've shared that we're not going to turn off power during this time. Call our customer care center and find about payment arrangements. I think that's the best. And then obviously there's tons of resources available on our website to help customers find assistance. I know, between the federal government, the state and local governments, there's a lot of different things out there, and we want to help you find those information. I think we were talking last night and mentioned that sometimes for businesses, you just don't know what you don't know. And so as a utility, there's things that we do know, and we like to share that with the customer so that they can find the help that's right for them.
Very good. Thank you so much. Mario.
Ditto to both what they said, and so the key point of that is reach out and have that conversation. Reach out to us, and we can either share the information that we know or the payment arrangements or any of the other things that we can offer.
Very good. All right, thank you so much. And Kristin, I know you just kind of mentioned some of the help you're providing for small businesses at this point. So I'm gonna jump into some questions for the utilities. With the transition from in-office to working from home, there are concerns from the public regarding overpowering of the grid. Has this been addressed within your respective agencies? And Mario, we'll start with you first. Overpower the grid because of usage.
Well, we're natural gas, and so we do monitor our natural gas supplies and services. And there haven't been any issues, so that continues to flow. We knew it was cold, even though today's a much warmer day. It was very cold the last few weeks, cold and rainy, and we were able to supply the required natural gas. So we haven't had any issues, and it's something that, as a normal course of business, we monitor on a regular basis.
Very good. Krystal.
Similar to SoCalGas, our company, every day we constantly look at the demand on the grid and if any circuits are reaching their peak load. So we're continuing to do that throughout this crisis. I think one of the biggest differences right now is some of our biggest energy users are businesses, right? Large businesses, manufacturing, industrial, and some of them are not considered essential. So they're not operating right now. And that's, very unfortunate, but that does take significant strain off the grid. So we're monitoring it every day, and we don't see any challenges in the future.
Very good. Okay, Jenny, same question to you.
Yeah, I would just add that the California Independent System Operator has noticed basically a trend down in total energy usage, much for the reason about businesses not being. At SDGE specifically in our region, what we found is that the increase in residential usage has sort of been offset by the decrease in business usage. So we obviously are managing the grid and looking forward, but we haven't seen anything to anticipate any issues along those lines.
Okay, I got another question here for the utilities, and then I'm going to have some for Kristin as well. But some residents have been receiving alerts. They are over their average rating on their energy efficiency score. Is this being addressed, or should it be ignored? Jenny, start with you on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm an analyst at heart, and I think data is never a bad thing, but I think data in the context of how you're receiving it is really important. So I think what you're talking about is the home energy reports. And so those are something that was started pre-COVID-19 to help consumers and energy users really understand, for better or for worse, what their energy usage is compared to their customers, or their neighbors, excuse me. I think it's important to think that our energy use is probably really different now than it was 2 months ago. And it's probably very different now than it will be 2 months from in the future. And so some of these reports are comparing and contrasting, and there's just not enough data to really give you a clear picture. So I wouldn't say disregard them. I think data it's interesting, but I also think that it probably is causing a little bit of customer confusion. And so we apologize for that. But I think right now the important part is to remain safe, stay at home, and then if you need help sort of connecting to the grid, that's where SDGE can come in.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you. So I'm going to kick it over to Kristin. I got a question for you. Is Cox Communication, with schools remaining closed through the remainder of the school year, students and teachers have been shifted to e-learning. What is Cox doing to support the needs of students and schools during this time? Kristin. Dan, I'm hoping we didn't lose Kristin here.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we hear you.
There we are. Yeah, Cox is committed to promoting digital equity for students. It's one of our pillars. In addition to offering our low-income internet service to qualifying families for free through July 15th, we've also doubled speeds on that service to help with distance learning. Right now, we're partnering with a number of school districts to offer bulk pricing and expedited application process for their students. And in addition, actually, we just contributed $200,000 to a local nonprofit called Computers to Kids to provide low-income students with computers and tablets and desktops during this time.
Very good. And then I got one more for you, Kristin. You spoke to the fact that more people than ever are using the internet, which can sometimes cause congestion on the network, of course. What are some simple ways to enhance their home's internet performance, especially during peak times? And I can just say personally, now that myself, my wife, 2 kids are at home, we have multiple devices connected to our internet now. Of course, I'm out here in the garage. I got my computer, I got our TV out here. Been impressed so far, but you mentioned some cool tricks. I think we were talking the other day. Just what can we do to make it, keep it fast, and make it a little bit better to use?
Sure, yeah. So networks around the country are striving to meet this new increase in demand, and performance issues like slower loading speeds, gaming latency, and streaming resolutions are all competing for that bandwidth, which can cause frustration. We all know it. The good news is there's a number of simple things that you can do right at your house to alleviate some of this demand and become a good steward of bandwidth. First, try scheduling bandwidth hogging activities for times of lower network demand. So for example, time your software updates, your game downloads, or your large file uploads to non-peak times, ideally overnight. Also, instead of streaming content, you can try pre-downloading it and watching it from a download instead of streaming it. Remember that not every teleconference needs to be video. Face-to-face interactions are wonderful. They really are, but broadcasting video is much more demanding on networks than voice alone. If you have a doorbell camera or other security cameras around your home, you can adjust the settings to reduce the resolution, especially while you're spending time at home. Running those streams continuously, especially at higher resolutions, can really bog down the performance of your network. Also, take inventory of how many devices are attached to your home network. You could try turning off extra tablets or gaming consoles when you've got an important video chat, for example. A couple more, double check that your home internet network is password protected to ensure that no one else but your family is using it. You might have some passerbys tagging along. And then last but not least, remember that computer viruses and malware can really slow down your home internet. So please check your network health.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so I have some questions here for everybody. So I'm going to ask one question, then we're going to go down the list, and I'll call your name here to answer this. And so with social distancing requirements, how have you changed the way you operate? I assume, I think Mario might have mentioned it, but I assume techs are or are not, it sounds like sometimes they are, going into people's homes. Again, we heard from Mario, but maybe we'll start with Krystal. What's been a significant change for you during this time? And then again, back to the tech question, or what are the protocols for technicians, entering homes or going out in the field?
So for Edison, all of our in-office employees that can work from home have moved to working from home. So we've got about over 8,000 employees working out of their homes. 99% of our customer service team, which means our call center, customer programs and services, business customer division, they're all working from their homes. So that was one of the biggest changes since this has happened. Our crews, so for those employees that do need to be out in the field, they're working in pods. They're single drivers in trucks. Typically there's 2 people in a truck, and they're practicing social distancing when they can, when they're working on our power lines. As I mentioned before, we're only performing critical work for public safety and wildfire reduction within our lines. And then our crews are practicing social distance requirements if contact is indeed required from anybody within the public. They're wearing masks as required, by the CDC. And so we're practicing all of the different things that are required from the state and the federal government. I would say additionally, it's really, really important for those individuals who have the technical expertise to run the grid. And so we are taking special precautions to make sure that they are limiting their exposure to anyone outside of their working pod in order to keep those individuals safe.
Jenny, over to you.
We're doing things. The only thing I would add, and I'm sure Edison and others are doing this as well, is that as techs into the house or as we have to have interactions with folks, we actually have an additional screening process where we do make sure that our employees safe area and vice versa. Our employees are dressed with full PPE and really trying to give customers the peace of mind that if they are engaging with someone from our utility in a safe manner to respect social distancing and really that we're taking everyone's health into consideration.
Demario, I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I'll kick it over to you. Again, what are some of the ways you guys have changed overall as you operate? And again, I know these are a little redundant per se, but I think it's important for those watching to hear, specifically about this issue from each company. So, Mario.
Yeah, and in addition to all the things that they talked about and the screening questions, that's an important part of it. That is a part of our protocol before we enter into any customer's home. But just in general, we do for our critical facilities and the people that do run the natural gas system and monitor that to make sure that we can deliver this reliable service. We are taking special precautions with those individuals and making sure that they are safe and can continue to operate in the manner that we expect them to. We have probably about 40% of our workforce, about our 8,000 employees, about 30-some hundred employees working from home right now. And that has changed the dynamics in terms of how we operate and going through a lot of different processes, but we're continuing to operate, and that's the important part. We are continuing to deliver the services that our customers expect.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So, Kristin, I'm home all day. My internet's out, my TV's out. What do I do, and how is Cox adapting to this, especially as having techs come into the house? And then, another question would be setting up new service. Or someone switching. Is that sort of business as usual, or what are some maybe extra precautions there?
Sure, yeah. So for us, anybody who can work at home is working at home. Obviously, a big part of our business is going out into the field and helping customers. So our field techs are actually no longer going into homes. It's been that way for a number of weeks now. They are wearing masks. They're using hand sanitizer. They're wiping down all surfaces that they touch at all times. But really, not entering into a home creates some challenges, right? In some cases, that means, wiring temporary modems in a garage, for example. But implementing this no contact installation has actually allowed us to become more innovative. So initially our field techs were utilizing technology like video chat and walk through customers through self-installs while the tech is in the garage or in the front yard. They're using video chat and walking the customer through that. But just this week, we launched a brand new tool that allows for augmented reality with video chat. So it basically allows the tech to reach right into the customer's view and show them exactly what to do by pointing to things, by drawing on the screen, by freezing and zooming images, all while the tech remains outside of the home. So we've seen, this be really well received by customers who appreciate the fact that we're trying to find new ways to serve them. There is a definite, we're pushing people to do self-installs for new service. For some new construction, we are seeing that. We're working with the home builders to get in before the residents move in. If they do get in after, that does create some challenges for us, so remember that. And then also our Cox Solution stores, they're adhering to social distancing requirements. They're limiting the number of people in the stores. They have partitions outside of the stores to allow people to stand in line 6 feet apart. And then we've also reduced our store hours.
Oh, very good. So you brought up a good point here, and it's kind of actually the next question I was going to ask. But we're possibly going to be looking at this way of life for quite some time, even if we do go back to some type of normalcy. There's going to be some changes that will stay in place for quite some time. I mentioned in my day job, we advocate for builders. And when this whole thing started, cities were to an extent shutting down. City halls were shut down. And we have homes being built as we speak with people who have either maybe sold their own home or they're about to move into their new home. And, inspectors have to go to these sites. They have to inspect. So cities started, some have been doing it, but a lot of cities have been moving to video inspections through FaceTime or Skype, kind of as you just said, as you guys are teaching, those at home to set up their cable. But this could possibly create some efficiency that will be extremely beneficial going forward. And so, Kristin, you kind of mentioned it, but I'll kick it over to Krystal. We're, like I said, this might be a little bit premature, but what efficiencies or what operating techniques do you think will stay in place even after this pandemic is over?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I think business in general, as we know it, will never go back to the way that we did things, right? So going into the office, and a strict schedule, I don't think we're ever going to be able to go back. We've learned how to adapt. We've learned how to conduct businesses, virtually. I think people have gotten comfortable with, kids coming into a video conference and knowing that we balance home life and work life. So I know you're talking a little bit about, technology, but I just think that in general, there's going to be a trend where business is going to be moving forward, differently. And it's a good thing. I think one of the things I'd heard our senior VP say this week to us is, what we've learned is really it's about, the quality of the work that's getting done, moving forward your business. And there's so much innovation that's taken place, throughout this COVID crisis, that it's not always about the hours that you put in, but it's the innovation, the ideas, the partnering. And I think that's what's really going to propel us, into a good partnership and in a good business model for all businesses moving.
That's a great answer. I mean, there's nothing I hate more than a bad commute. Or driving far to a meeting, that only lasts 30 minutes and driving back to the office. So that's a great answer. So Jenny, we'll kick it over to you on the same question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to know what will officially stay changed forever, but I agree. I think that life as we know it and how we worked as we know it will change. I think in addition to how we operate as a company, I've noticed customer expectations have changed. There are things that they would have really wanted us to go in the house and do that they're okay talking on the phone. I think the way that we engage customers and their expectations will definitely, be a defining moment of what's left over. And innovation, I love that word because it's right. It's innovation. We didn't have a lot of planning. No one had 2 or 3 months to really prepare for this. It was all of a sudden it's here and you're working from home. And SDGE had us working from home about a week before, for those that could. The governor had his stay-at-home order, and it was very quickly, and it was for the protection of our employees and to give continued service in a difficult time. And so I think that we're going to continue to just stay flexible and think outside the box. I think telecommuting is going to be definitely a new norm, but I think leadership at all levels, right? Not just at the highest level that makes policies for our company at the highest, but individual leaders, as we're in charge of our own kind of work stream, I think we're going to be empowered with new information, and we're going to see solutions that work. And I think even without it being kind of connected to COVID-19, we've seen innovation at SDGE recently with the rain. We've been focused a lot on the pandemic, but we had significant rain here a few weeks ago, and we had a down power line, or not down power line, excuse me. We had an outage, and we had some trouble men that had to get into a canoe, basically a craft, paddle out to where the issue was while in PPE, maintaining social distance and being protected, and fix the situation to restore power. And I think that innovation, that flexibility, that resiliency that I think is in a lot of utilities DNA, not just SDG&E, but probably everyone here on this call, is going to continue. So I look forward to seeing what the future has for us and what great things that we take away from this time. But I think some will go back to normal too, because at the end of the day, it is nice to actually connect with people and connect with customers. So I look forward to taking the good and maybe leaving the isolation away.
Yes, exactly. I know we need a middle ground. So,
Right.
Okay, Mario, same question to you.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Steve, you mentioned the virtual inspections for the home builders. We've been working with municipalities, and some have been open to, where we've had to physically deliver construction plans to them in the past to do it electronically. And frankly, that's something we'd love to expand and have that be a permanent fixture going forward, pandemic or not. But likewise, there's a lot of things, everything that's been mentioned before regarding the isolation and kind of work from home. But the acceptance of the ability to be effective and very quickly. And actually, I was a little bit surprised how quickly we were all able to adapt and be effective. We moved a significant amount of our workforce home, who in some cases, in some areas where we thought it was going to be much more of a challenge to do so. And we were able to successfully do that, which opens up then other avenues for, what really needs to be in an office, what really needs to be together versus separated. So that's going to have a facility impact too, and office space and everything else that we do. So it remains to be seen how that works.
Exactly. Okay. Well, thank you. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to ask the last question here. Not really a question per se, but just some closing remarks from each of our panelists. A lot of information today, a lot of good information, within a little short time period here. So I really appreciate that. And so, closing remarks from our panelists. We'll start with Kristin, but again, Kristin, close it out.
All righty. Well, you just spoke to lessons learned, and I'm a government affairs professional, and so I'll just make a closing comment about, I just really think that municipalities have learned a lot in this too, and I'm excited to see the changes there. Cities have really stepped up to try to move permits more quickly through their processes so that we can get out there and alleviate congestion for their residents as quickly as possible. And it really just sheds light on the fact of how quickly, we're able to get out and do work and move things forward when there aren't really onerous regulatory barriers standing in our way. And so I just encourage cities to maybe look at their operating procedures as well and see, how in the future we can continue this amazing partnership that I think has been established during this time. And then last but not least, just a huge thank you to all essential workers out there, keeping us all safe, keeping us all protected. Also want to just give a shout out to cable workers. They are also essential workers. And don't forget to thank a cable worker on your street because they're keeping us connected.
Thank you so much. Jenny, closing remarks.
Yeah, wow, that's a really hard one to follow. Really great sentiments and things. I guess I would say, as I look at the audience virtually that's out there listening to us right now, you're hearing what we've done and what we're doing, and hopefully that's given you some peace of mind or some ideas on how to better operate your business. But I bet you are also doing things that are very innovative, very flexible, and are things that people to your left and your right would probably benefit from knowing. And so I'm really encouraging. It's great for us to share as utility providers what we're doing to keep our lights on and our cable going. But I think each one on work stream are doing very creative things. So I would really recommend sharing your best practices. Don't be silent. Don't be there on your own. And if you're struggling, share. Let people know what you need help with. We are all in this together, not just as businesses, but as people. And the next thing I would say is connect. We've said multiple times, connect, call your utility bill, go to our website, reach out to us on social media, connect with us. What we don't know, we can't help you with. And you guys have a lot of great insight, but also connect with each other. We know we have a lot of economic development councils right here in San Diego that are doing a great job of cross-pollinating best practices. And I would just really encourage everyone to continue to share what's working, ask for help, connect with those that are meaningful in your workspace, and don't be a stranger. We're going to get through this. The end is going to happen, but in the meantime, I think we can also do a lot of good to help each other get through it to the end. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jenny. Mario.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, in addition to thanking the essential workers, I wanted to thank my peers here on this call, because collectively, without any of us being able to effectively work and deliver the services that we do deliver, we wouldn't be able to have any of this. And personally, my wife is a third grade teacher, so she's teaching 21 students every day virtually, and that's only possible based on all the utilities being able to provide the services that they do. So I wanted to thank my peers and obviously everybody out there that provides these services so that we can do these things and continue to be effective. So appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Mario. So Krystal, last but not least.
Well, thank you so much. At Edison, and I know with all my counterparts, safety is the number one priority for all of us. And so I'd like everyone just to remember, your personal safety, how you take care of yourself, your mental health, your psychological health, how you're taking care of your family, during this time is extremely important. We all want to stay healthy. That's the reason why we're working from home. That's the reason why, we're in this stay-at-home order. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You may not have seen or thought of utilities as a partner for you in the past, but I hope you've heard here today that we are here to partner with you. We are here to help you through this time. We care about you as a small business owner. We care about you as a resident. So reach out to us. Think about us differently. And one of the things I started the conversation with is a hashtag that our company had started, which is powering through together. And so just remember what everybody has said here. We're all in this together. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Put your mask on, before you put your kid's mask on. But know that we're in this together. We'll get through this, and don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you again to our amazing panel for addressing, again, where we're at today and possibly where we're going to go moving forward as we continue this work from home model. I want to thank our viewers as well. And I do want to make or say a special note on our upcoming 2020 economic report that will take place right here on Facebook Live, Tuesday, May 12th, 11:30. We are going to be lucky enough to be joined by Dr. Chris Thornburg of Economics, a renowned economist who will provide us real-time updates of the COVID-19 pandemic, how it's going to affect our economy. You don't want to miss this. So if you're interested in tuning in, go ahead and RSVP through our Facebook event page and invite your friends, your colleagues, family, and again, not something to miss. So for more information, again, go to our Facebook page or the coalition's website, economiccoalition.com. And one more time, I do want to thank our sponsor today, the toll roads. And with that, thank you again, and we will see everyone on May 12th.